Erde Plaza was made to commemorate the life and service of Dr. Charles Erde. He was an educator at Houston-Tillotson University here in town and several other universities around the state and the country. After his service in education, he was elected to the Austin City Council 5 consecutive terms from 1981 to 1994. His contributions to public service, education, and politics in East Austin have made a tangible impact in his community, as well as a reaching impact on the city of Austin as a whole. Isn't this a beautiful piece? Some of the things that stand out to me in this mosaic, the theme of community. You see, as we move across, people out for a stroll in the neighborhood, to me they look like they're dressed for church. You see some churches in the background, people gathered on their porches, having conversations. I get a feel of community as I look at this mosaic. We move this way, you can see there's several generations working together here to create things. And again, we've got another church. Austin has long been known as the live music capital of the world. And you can almost hear the music as we move to this end of the mosaic. That's a club I'd like to go to.
Hey y'all, so this is one of the amazing murals that we can see here in this square. This particular side is actually front and back, and this is the back side that is not seen by the streets. And you can kind of see on here how much it's speaking to the truth of what really a city falls into. You can kind of see through the different layers here on the, I guess, bus or train or whatever you want to call that. You can literally see down to the wheels on how it works and the road that it's going on. And then a little further over, you see the different window panes and things that either toppled over or broken down, and just how much that speaks to the truth of what a city really is, whereas most places just view the beauty of various things. And then next, we're going to go walk over to this side, and Ms. Alt is going to talk to you about the other side of it. And what she has done, we'll show you kind of how they.
Hey, you guys! I'm at the flip side of where Ms. Clausen was just talking to you, and I can tell you what really appeals to me. Maybe it's an English teacher thing, but I love the symbolism of a tree in any kind of context. Particularly because that's close to the classical heart of us. But I love the idea of a mosaic in this way as well, because when you get close to it, you see all of the finer pieces, all the smaller pieces that make up a larger whole. And I think that that is really pretty stunning in this piece for sure. So if you get closer to it, you can see, I did not notice this initially, but you can see that there are 3 different faces, 2 that you see from the front and 1 in profile, but you have to work a little bit to be able to identify that you have 3 different individuals here. But I think it's really beautiful. You have kind of some pearl buttons, but all made so creatively out of glass and tile and mirrors. But when you step back, it creates this bigger, beautiful image. I love the idea of a tree that's rooted, that grows, that bends and doesn't break. All of those ideas kind of make my English teacher heart happy.
All right, you guys. So we've now seen the in-depth versions of both sides of this mural. Something that Ms. Alt and I noticed is actually that each side has 1 hand on it, and it's kind of up to your interpretation as to what you see between the 2 different sides. But you have a lot of contrast between them. We kind of thought our interpretation was that the hands are actually pulling these 2 sides together. Now, what you see in those 2 sides is kind of up to you.
We also wondered about some of the decay and broken pieces, assuming that that's not purposeful by the artist, what that might suggest as well if we're digging deeper in that idea. And the fact that on this side we have something that feels a little bit more industrial, a little bit more like something that would occur in a city. So this might be a little bit more of that glimpse into the reality of living in an urban setting, where on this other side you have a little bit more of a natural element with the tree that's growing. So we're curious what your thoughts are about this piece and what is perhaps added by the fact that it is a piece that's been weathered. The other question we had, we do not have the answer for this, is why this was built in two separate pieces. That if we have two hands pulling it together, why isn't it just together? And what that might be telling us about the change that happens in a city, particularly the change that's been happening in East Austin, if there is something greater to consider beyond just what we're seeing.
Archive War. In 1842, Texas Republic President Sam Houston campaigned to move the state capital from Austin to Houston. When Austin's citizens resisted, Houston sent Texas Rangers to steal Austin's government archives. They would have succeeded, but if it not for innkeeper Angelina Eberly, who, hearing the Rangers loading their wagons in the middle of the night, fired off Austin's 6-pound cannon, missing the Rangers' but blowing a hole in the General Land office building. Roused from sleep by the noise, residents chased down the Rangers and recovered the archives. The statue of Eberly, sculpted by Australian Pat Oliphant, honors her role in keeping the capital in Austin.
This large mural located at the corner of Cesar Chavez and Congress, titled The Beauty of Liberty and Equality, celebrates the 100-year anniversary of the women's rights to vote in the U.S. The year 2020 was the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, giving some women the right to vote, and serves as a reminder that rights may be won, but fairness and equality are always a work in progress and active struggle. This 12-story mural is the largest in Austin and was a collaboration of two artists, one woman, Sandra Xavier, and one man, Shepard Ferrier.
We Rise. The corner of 12th and Chicon on the east side is the site of one of the most controversial pieces of public art in Austin, not because of its content, but because of its history. This is not the first mural to be painted on this wall. The first mural was painted in 2014 as a tribute to the rich heritage of the East Side neighborhood. However, in 2017, the building was bought by new owners who had the mural painted over with white paint. The community was outraged and assumed the new owners were wealthy and white and didn't care for the history of the area. Actually, the business was a minority-owned business that was relocating from a few blocks away. After much discussion with civic leaders, the original artist, Chris Rogers, was commissioned to paint a new mural on the same wall. Unlike the first mural, with its in-your-face quality that reflected the anxiety of East Austin, the second, titled We Rise, is vibrant, uplifting, and proud. It depicts significantly more people, especially women, bearing the faces of figures ranging from Barbara Jordan, James Brown, and Salvador Dali, to Beyoncé, Muhammad Ali, and Austin's own beloved World War II veteran Richard Overton. Woven between these icons are images of a phoenix, a pregnant deity, and a Dia de los Muertos figure, just a few manifestations of Rogers' motifs of transformation, celebrating life, and rebirth. Rogers said, "Change can feel wrong, violating, and unfair, and it may be. But I've found in my life that only when acceptance comes can growth and progress begin. I want everyone who sees that wall to take in the spirits of those who came before us, to embrace what they stood for, in hopes of building toward a brighter future and a better way of life."
Street stands a mural that screams Austin. Standing at 55 feet tall by 130 feet wide, this is by far the largest scale mural that artist Bradford Maxwell has created to date. The client asked for a design that said, Austin. Maxwell met a wandering musician on South Congress and asked if he would be willing to be the model for this design. They got a harness from REI and hoisted him up 12 feet in the air with his guitar. How Austin is that? Soon they had the design for the wall, and then had to figure out how to paint it. Too large to project, they had to go old school and use a grid system. Just like those of you in geometry did for your scale drawing project.
It's okay to not be okay. Texas-raised artist Sade Lawson got her start in watercolors and acrylics before evolving into mural art in 2018. Her works focus on the power of feminine energy, confidence, emotions, and experience with mental illness, and prominently feature the feminine form and dreamy landscapes in bright, vivid color. Her recent commission for Downtown Austin Alliance's Foundation's Writing on the Walls series, titled It's Okay to Not Be Okay, can be seen from the northbound lanes of South Lamar just before crossing under the Amtrak rail lines. The theme of the commission was women's empowerment, and Lawson recently shared her inspiration for the piece, which depicts a woman experiencing 3 emotional states in 3 different colors. I went with the topic of women being empowered by all our emotions, not just those expected of us. I show this by painting the same figure expressing different emotions connected with its emotive color. She is also surrounded by dragonflies and lotus flowers that have great symbology in being resilient in the toughest of times. My main message is that it is truly okay to not be okay. We are still empowered by the entirety of who we are, good and bad.